Hey everybody, welcome to this Board Game Life episode number 47, titled Events. This is the show about board games, tabletop games, anything else we want to talk about. I am one of your fine hosts for today. My name is Rob, and with me as always I got my good buddy Mark.
The finest host.
Yes, that applies to both of us.
No, there can only be one finest. You are the finest. You are the fine wine. I'm the boxed wine.
Maybe that's fine too.
For the winos in the street, maybe.
It's just fine, not fine. Maybe that's the distinction.
Well, it's good to be back here with you, Rob.
Yeah.
It's my fault for the long delay. Had some emergency, scary family events happen.
Yeah, stuff's happening.
Yeah, and so things have finally calmed down, even though I'm still very busy around that event. But calmed down and allowed us to, Rob and I, to get back together and record a show again for you. So glad to be back. I missed it.
Glad to be back as well. So, in all that time, what you been playing? Anything interesting?
It's been light. You are probably going to kick me off the podcast after I'm done with my section here.
No, never.
Because there's a lot of things that you're going to say those aren't games, or those don't count, or those are party games and they're garbage and get out of here and I should be embarrassed. But
no, I wouldn't be like that. I would definitely judge you, but I do that anyway.
So understand some of these were purchased as something to do in the hospital with people that are not gamers.
Yeah.
So
you have to look at the target audience. Maybe that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So anyways, we did play a game. I picked up a game, so it's new to my shelf, called Just One. And it I think I saw it on the Dice Tower, one of their top 10s or something. I don't know. I watch, they have shows on all the time, so I don't even remember when it was, but I saw it. It was like a really highly rated party game. And so we actually played this yesterday, I think it was. Yes. And there's been a lot going on, and my day today has been so crazy. I can't even remember if this was yesterday, but my oldest son's home from college, and so we went over to grandma's house and had the whole family. We were playing this one called Just One, and it's a very interesting game because we had 5 of us, and I think it supports up to 7 players. And you basically you flip a card. So whoever the active player is, there's a deck of cards. There's a big stack of cards, but you're only playing with 13 cards. So you shuffle them all up, you draw out 13 face down. Whoever the active player is, they have this little plastic easel in front of them. It looks like a Scrabble tile holder. So if you get the little tray where you put your little tiles on for Scrabble, everybody knows what that looks like. It's like that, but it's a white plastic thing. And on the back side, it has like a little lip. So what the active player does, they take that card and they face it forward to everyone else. So they only looking at the back of the card. And then they give a number between 1 through 5. Now, on the other side of the card are 5 words. And everyone else on their easel will write with an erasable marker. They write on the front of their easel a clue. Just one word, though. It can only be a 1-word clue. And then the active player basically closes their eyes. Everyone else, when they're all done writing their clue, they show their clues to each other. If any of the clues match, they have to erase them and they get pulled out. All the non-identical clues then get shown to the active player. And they have one opportunity, one guess, to guess what the word is.
Okay.
If they get it, then you get to keep the card, and the goal is to get as many of those 13 cards for the whole team to see how many you can get right. And everybody had just a really good time. Even my mother was like, let's play that again. So we played it a couple of times and everyone really had fun. It was funny because the first time we did really good. The second time around, boy, we did terrible. It was like, yikes. Um, but it's a fun little party game. And again, I would recommend it if you're, Rob, I know you got a friend of yours that you're trying to get into it. If you got a group, and again, no one's losing. That's another nice thing is for people that are new, there's can be that whole stress of, well, I'm going to lose or I'm not very good and even my mother was like, well, I lost that for us. But then everyone at some point's losing something and we're all scoring together. Now, the interesting part is you can pass if you really don't know what it is. You can pass, but you lose that card. You don't get any points for it. If you guess and you're wrong, you lose that card and the next card on the deck. So basically, you might like losing 2 points. So you're trying to basically get 13, to be perfect, and it's just fun. And it's interesting because like a word will come up. I'm trying to remember what one was that we had yesterday, and I'll see the word, and I'm like, okay. Immediately, I go to the word was socket, and so I wrote, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to write like wrench because like a socket wrench. I don't want to write wrench because someone else might write that. So I'm trying to of course everyone's trying to avoid the obvious because they're afraid someone else is going to write it. And then that means those 2 clues are gone.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, my daughter and I have worked together on a lawnmower and different things. And we've used deep well sockets. So I just wrote deep well. My youngest son writes wrench. I'm like, cool. Glad I didn't write wrench. But now that word's out there, which we want. My mother wrote light. And my oldest son wrote arm.
Okay.
And I'm like, arm? Like, how in the heck is that a socket? And then it's like, oh, your arm fits in a socket. And then I was looking at my mother's like, light? Oh, light socket. It's like, and so it made it challenging. My daughter was trying to guess, and it was like, okay, those 2 are maybe tools, but how does an arm and a light and tools have anything to do? And so it was like, it was interesting to see how people's minds think. Because when I saw a socket, I immediately went to a socket wrench.
Mm-hmm.
Just, and I nothing else. Like, I mean, I just, and you so the first thing you think of, you're like, okay, you're off and running. And it's like, well, there could be so many other ways to look at it.
Yeah.
And what is so obvious to me is like someone else is sitting there going, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Like I would think like wall socket, like immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
The tool would be second, but yeah.
Yeah. So it makes it a challenge. Now, we've had others where all of us were kind of on the same, we're giving clues that relate to the same type of thing. So all of our things work together. But on that one, it was like we had like 3 different we had the tools, a light socket, and then an arm socket. Like these don't go together, but you're still getting to that same word. So I think it makes it more challenging. And we found it easier when people were all like, if we were all in the tool phase of thinking of a socket wrench and it'd come up with different it would have made it easier. But it's interesting to see how everybody's minds work. And then sometimes you don't write something because you're like, that's too, someone else is going to get it. And then nobody writes the obvious clue because everyone's afraid to write it because, and we've had times. And if you all match, or we had cases where 2 people, so we had 4 people writing clues, both 2 would match one with the same clue and the other 2 people would match on a different clue. Well, when that happens, you lose the card. So it adds another depth of like, well, you really got to be careful of you can't get so weird that you're the only one that knows it, but you got to try to come up with things that maybe not the obvious thing to get your clues removed. So it's interesting. It's a really
Yeah.
fun game, and again, no one loses, and we're all just having fun. And it's, and then like my mother later gets it, and it's like, yes, you got it, and it was so. She really enjoyed that. It's not a stressful game, which is nice. To good introduction.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna skip the next two. I'll save those for last to redeem myself. Played some
Okay.
Qwixx. That's that
Okay.
little dice game that we really like. Again,
Yeah. It's a good one.
One of my Kickstarters came in called One Too Many Rabbits. We played this, and
Oh yeah, you
it's
ordered that not too long ago, right? Or you pledged.
quite a while. This was, I think,
Was
no,
this
it
the
wasn't.
first one? Was this your first?
No, my first one depends on how you look at it. I got Dog Park, which was like my first foray into Kickstarter, and it was like a what do you call it, late pledge or the pre-order.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, but my first Kickstarter was Evil Bunny,
Okay.
and that was the one that like I ended up with two copies because the UPS lost it for 2 months.
Hmm.
um, but this was another Kickstarter, just a little card game. And it was fun, but we were playing it. It was just like, man, is this thing ever going to end? Basically, the object is to get rid of all your rabbits in your card, and it is. I will say I think it's a really good game for kids, younger kids, and even older adults, like seniors, because there's math involved. Not hard, but it still makes you kind of think. Because you have cards numbered from like 1 to 12, and those cards are like the ones you need to get rid of. And it's also a dice roller, so you're rolling dice, and you can combine. So you're rolling 3 dice. Well, you can roll it. You can roll 1, 2, or 3 dice. And when you first start out, everyone has, I can't remember how many cards. You have a bunch of cards in your hand, and you're rolling all 3 dice, and then you can use any combination of the dice to equal a number card in your hand. So, say you rolled 2 6s and a 4, so you could either get rid of 2 6s in your hand and a 4, or you could get rid of a 12 and a 4, because you're combining the 2 dice, the 2 6s, to make a 12. Now, if you had an 11 in your hand, there's also cards that allow you to do plus or minus. So you could put like a 6 plus 5. If you had a 6 and a 5 in your hand, then well, that you could still, yeah, because if you had an 11 in your hand, okay, you could take the 6 and the, well, yeah, see, this is where it gets a little confusing. So you can combine the dice and get the 11 to get rid of it. There's also other ways, like you can bind cards. So say you roll a 6 and you don't have a 6 in your hand, but you have like a 4 and a 2 in your hand. So you can take a 4, a 2, and then one of these plus or minus cards and add that to it. So then you're doing the 4 plus the 2 gives you the 6 on the dice. And that's how you get rid of 2 of your cards. There's like wilds, there's like other different cards that can kind of screw over your opponents. There's this one where it comes up and you have to play it immediately when you get it, and it's I forgot what it's called, but basically it's like as soon as it comes out, you get it, you have to play it, and then the person that played it rolls 2 dice. But before they roll the dice, everyone picks a card in their hand that they want to get rid of, and they put it down. And if the dice comes up and allows you to get rid of that card, then that's great. You lose a card. For everybody that their number didn't come up, they have to take, I think, 2 cards. So it's like, you're going backwards. So, but I think it's a cute one, a good one too, for like younger kids learning math and stuff. And then again, older, maybe seniors to help kind of keep their mind a little sharp. And I think that the confusion on the game was, like I was just doing it a minute ago. It's like you can combine your dice, but you can't You can't combine the cards unless you have a plus minus. If you're rolling a 6, you can't put down a 4 and a 2 because it equals 6. You have to have the 4 plus the 2, or you can only get rid of the 6. And then if you roll the dice and you don't use all the dice, then you get penalized by drawing cards. You have to draw a card for every dice you don't use. So when you're getting down to you don't have high numbers, then you might not want to roll 3 dice. You might, as you start to get rid of cards and you're getting down, you might be rolling just 2 or 1, because if you roll 3 and you can only use 2 of them, now you're taking another card. So it's like, okay, I better just roll 2 dice. So, it's pretty neat. It's got some very light strategy to it, or kind of thinking like that. But again, it's a really good, I think, a good entry level game, and everyone really enjoyed it too. Next one, this was the hospital game. I was out at the pharmacy and I saw this, and it's the Pop-Tarts Game. And so my mother was the one in the hospital. She loves Pop-Tarts. She always has. So I'm like, you know what? This will be a cute little card game. We can sit there and play right on our little hospital tray bed, hospital bed tray, whatever. And it helped pass the time because it was many days of sitting in the hospital for 12 hours. And she really liked it. It was not, again, this was just there wasn't much to it. But she really enjoyed it, and it helped pass the time. And so that's been added to my collection. And then I picked up another one. I don't think I mentioned this on the last show. I think this was new since we spoke last, but it's a game called Tapple. And this was a big hit. This is a good party game. It's like this machine that has a whole bunch of letters, and there's buttons. It's all in a circle, and there's this button in the middle of this little plastic device. And it's a big white button. It's got a hand on it. And then all around it are these levers like you push. And each one has a letter on it, but not all the letters of the alphabet are there. Like there's no Q. I don't think there's an X. I don't even think there's a Z. But there's almost all the letters are there. And what happens is you draw a card, and all the cards are double-sided. They each have like 2 topics on it. And so whoever the active player is, they draw a card and they select one of those topics. And it might be beverages. And so they read it out. They tap the hand. This 10-second timer starts ticking. Tick, 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 tick. It's really annoying.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's a stressor. And then the object now is to say a beverage that starts with one of the letters that has not been pressed. So at the beginning, it's very easy. C for Coke. And when you press that, you gotta press the letter and press the hand to reset the timer before it goes ding or ain't or whatever before it goes off, right? Mm-hmm. If it dings before you hit it, you're out. And then so I hit C for Coke, I hit the hand, it still keeps ticking, but what that does is it resets the timer for another 10 seconds. The next person immediately goes. They might hit P, Pep for Pepsi, hit the hand. Well, as you're going around, there's fewer and fewer letters available. And it gets down to and what you'll find out, we had one restaurants. Rob, you know me. I'm not a small guy. Okay. I should be able to sweep everyone under the table. Get it for restaurants.
Yeah.
I went out right away. I got 1. And then my brain just completely, I couldn't, you're looking at all these letters and you're just like, I can't think of a freaking one restaurant. Are you kidding me? And it happens to everyone. And it's like, okay, now I get when people are on these TV game shows and we're like, come on, idiot, here's the answer. That timer going, man. And it's like that stress of you got to be quick. And then you're like, I've had times where okay, I'm planning my next one. And I'll be like, okay, I know what I'm going to play for that one. I know what I'm going to play for that letter. Oh, crap. Someone just took that letter. Okay, I got this one. Oh, man, the person next to me just took it. And it's like, I don't know what else to do. You're scrambling to get 10 seconds to figure out something. And it's funny how the brain just quits working.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And this Tapple, I think this game was only like 12 or $15 at like Target or something. It is not an expensive game. It's really fun. It is a really fun party game. So again, this is another great one that anybody can play. It's super simple. So I do recommend that for a party game. All right. Now to redeem myself from all those people who've probably already tuned off, like, what are these guys talking about? These are crap games. I did get to play with my board game or my board game group this week. I did play the Dungeons and Dragons Lords of the Waterdeep again. I
Nice.
really like that game.
Yeah,
Still got
it's a fun
smoked,
game.
but I really enjoy that game. But dang it, I cannot get an engine going. I never get the quest that when you complete it gives you, what do they call them? Plot quests, I think they're called, where you don't just put it in your completed pile, you put it over on the right side of your tavern or your board, and then you got the engine going. So when you do things, you gain the. I can never get a quest that has an engine, so it's like this sucks. But I
Mhm.
still love the game. It's so much fun. And then I played a new game. I was taught Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
I won't be buying this one.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, well, I I know some people are put off by the art style of it for one thing, but I figured you would have fairly liked it because of the, it's
There
like
wasn't
a
a
little
character that I had heard of in this game.
right. Yeah, that's how you
Um,
that's that's how you make a game, and you don't have to pay anybody royalties.
so the person who taught it kind of started a little too quick before everyone was at the table. Um, and we just kind of like, they're just like, okay, that's good. Let's go for it. They're like, pick out a character. I'm like, I don't, okay, wait a minute. Like, and I picked one. I'm like, okay, this guy looks like a tank. And he was like, what was he called? The indestructible tank buster. I don't know. The name was Buster. I think it was like Tank Buster or something like that. Bunker
Okay.
Buster. I don't know. But man, the first round when the evil person attacks, the bad guy attacks, my gosh, I lost half my health just before any of us got to even play. I'm like, how is my guy a tank? And I didn't really understand. Like, to me, the cards didn't make sense. And again, I think it was because there really was not a. I was cleaning up from our previous Lords of the Waterdeep game, so I was putting everything away, and everyone else went over and started to set up, and the instructions were started to give, and I'm like, hey, wait. But by the end of it, I was starting to understand what I was supposed to do, and I did get in some really good attacks near the end. Um, but I would play it again, but it's not something I would purchase because
Okay.
I don't see myself running a game like in my little world
Right.
here.
Right.
I don't see that as one. I've got too many superhero games that I don't need another one. And my kids would probably rather play, like Marvel Dice Throne or Marvel Villainous or what is it, Marvel United or whatever. We got way too many others to put something that none of us have ever heard any of these characters. I don't even know if they're real or made up or I thought it was a Marvel game, but I don't.
No.
It has something to do with comic books. So I guess they're all comic book characters, but maybe they're just made up.
Yeah, they are. And
Oh,
the one
well,
thing too is
like the
this
Marvel
game.
characters aren't made up, right?
Well, yeah, I know what
But
you
you
mean,
know what
but
I mean. Not
yeah,
not known.
yeah. The one thing about this game is it's. I would say it's kind of like a classic game within the past like 15 years. It's one of the more popular ones. A lot of people know about it. and it is an older game. It's not super old. I think it came around 2010, something like that. So what,
Yeah.
12 to 15 years ago it came out. So it's going to be different than more recent games for sure.
I
Because
thought
you'll
the cards were nice. Like I thought the
yeah,
art was nice. I thought the
mhm,
cards were like they were big. Like they were nice sized. I thought the production value of the game itself was very quality.
yeah, yeah,
It was nice the way that the like your information card when they were putting when she was putting the card everything away, like your information card for your character like turns sideways and becomes a divider in the box for all the cards. I'm like, oh, that's nice. You don't have to buy a separate thing. It's was thought of so you could just okay, which character do I want? They're all labeled
yeah,
and divided. So
yeah. There's another game that's similar to this. I wonder if you would like it any better. It's Legendary. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have. I think I
Or
have.
or you have a copy?
What is this one? I
Is
think
it
I
on the
have.
floor?
It's on a lower shelf, but I'm trying to. Yes, I
Like
have Legendary
Marvel.
Marvel. I have the
Okay,
Marvel
yeah,
version.
yeah.
And if I recall, when we played that, my kids and I preferred DC Deck Builder.
Okay,
We liked it better than the Legendary.
I gotcha. Okay.
So, but I know Legendary is very popular out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
There's so many of them. Oh my gosh, so many expansions and yeah,
but that's what I got in this week or the last couple of weeks. So it's been slow month for me so far,
yeah,
but I'm hoping to. I got some new stuff that I'm gonna hopefully play, and yeah, we'll get some things knocked out. Get back to normal.
yeah,
How about you?
yeah.
Did you get a
For
chance to play?
yeah, very little. We haven't had a whole lot of time to play. So when there was some time to play, it was something that, fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, either people knew they had played before, just so we could not have to go through the rules teach, or it was something that I knew pretty well and I couldn't, I didn't have to like sit there staring at the book. But got in classic Carcassonne. I mean, this is an ancient game, probably 20 years old by now. Bunch of different versions. Like this is a Star Wars one that I actually have. I should have brought that one. I totally forgot about that. But anyway, it's just the plain version of Carcassonne. No expansions in it. Although I think that one has the river expansion. But I've also got the big box version, and I have mixed feelings on the big boxes. Have you ever seen those?
That thing is huge.
Yeah, and yeah, that's where the game comes with every expansion, and Carcassonne has a bajillion expansions. Um, but it was good. It, it's it's an interesting game from the standpoint of I don't always reach for the game. Actually, who am I kidding? I probably wouldn't choose the game to play unless it was with new people. Do you know what I mean? Kind of.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be my first choice, but it might be a good like intro game. It's easy enough. It's interesting, and I do. Have you've played it, right, or no? Carcassonne.
I I believe I did a long time ago.
Okay.
I recently bought the was it the 20th anniversary edition,
Oh yeah,
and haven't got it to the table yet, but
yeah.
I do have it.
Yeah, because the cool thing about it is that once you're pretty close to the end of the game, you've basically built a map, right? Because you're putting down these, square tiles. They have roads and other things on them. And then it's kind of cool to actually see this map on the table. It just looks interesting. But yeah, I mean that's enough about Carcassonne. And then we got a game of Splendor and a game of Azul, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have like one of those, what you would call them, those recycle bags. Like sometimes you get those at grocery stores. They're like, I don't know what material that is. It's not like it's not a felt. It's those shopping bags that are like that cloth.
Yeah,
But
I know what
anyway,
you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. But I've got one of those, and I usually will bring like 5 games. Depends on whatever fits in there. That's my limit. If it's like overflowing, I brought too many games, and I'll just sit there and I'll have like 1 or 2 games that I really want to play,
Yeah.
and then I'll have the games that are like simpler that bring out in a pinch. And we got some old standbys. And so I'm not going to say anything about the other 2, but that's about it. Yeah.
Hey, you can't sink lower than I did, so. But we don't
Yeah.
need us to both lose our street cred.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, so the title of the show is Events. And one thing that's happening real soon here now is, so Gen Con is like 3 months away, and they are finally opening up event registration. The catalog came out, what, at the beginning of the month, I think, or was it end of April? Within the last 2, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And when's it opening? Is it opening Sunday?
I think it's this Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's Sunday around midday or something like that. And for those that are not familiar, right, when you go to a lot of these conventions, maybe not a lot, but Gen Con in particular, right, when you go over there, you get your tickets, which are your entry, or your badge, which is your entry into the convention. And then once you're there, you can, of course, walk the halls. Um, I know there's free play areas and so forth, but then there's tons and tons and tons of events, thousands easily. And
16,234 at the moment.
yikes.
Yeah, how am
Yeah.
how am I supposed to filter through this, Rob?
Well, you can go to the show and get a book because they actually print all of those, and it looks like, remember the Sears catalog from back in the
Yeah,
day? Well, it's not that big, but it's
but
still big.
probably darn close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's I really haven't been paying attention to them lately because I usually don't get them because they're such a pain to carry around. But I want to say they're at least half an inch, if not more thick.
Oh, they
And
gotta be. Yeah.
yeah, but they list out all the events, and they're available like all over the convention in various places, and you can just thumb through it, take it home, souvenir, whatever. But yeah, they've got tons of events and everything from competitions, tournaments, to demos of games that you like.
Yeah.
Is there some like background noise or something? I don't know. Some kind of music.
You might hear the frogs outside, or you might
Oh,
hear my
maybe
fan.
it's that. All right.
It's a
Yeah,
warm one here today, so I got my
I
window
gotcha.
open because it cooled off really quick, and
Yeah,
I got to get that breeze in here. So
yeah, I gotcha. But yeah, there's so many events, and it's always kind of a tough thing of like, what do you do, right? Do you just not do any events, or do you try to take part in some of them? Have you looked at the catalog yet? Have you gone through it all? I'm just curious.
Let me say that again. 16,234 events.
Yeah.
No, I haven't looked. I haven't thumbed through it yet.
Yeah.
I,
Well,
I
heck
saw that
yeah.
and I was like, let's see, Rob and Jay and Braun and Franco and myself and one kid each, I think, for all of us. Yeah, how are we going to plan this out? I don't know
Yeah.
what to go to.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, what do you want to see, Rob? You tell me and I'll sign up for it.
Yeah. So a couple of things that I just want to make mention of. So first of all, it is extremely overwhelming, and this is the best way that I would probably say to approach this. First of all, if you have anything that you're interested in, any game that you really like, any game that like you really enjoy, once they come out with, because you and I had also talked about um, the Gen Con preview that BGG does.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if that's even out yet. It might not be. Might be too early still. But when you go through that, once you see stuff that you like in there, you can also search for those games, see if there's any kind of, you know, interesting events tied to those games. So definitely games that you're interested in, favorite games, games that you don't get to play a lot, just because either your game group doesn't like it, or I was gonna make a funny joke. At least it would have been funny to me, but I'm gonna I'm gonna hold back. But yeah, look to see if you can find anything for those particular games. Now these events, they run all all different times, right? During the day, some are late. They're in the various halls, and kind of like just get out there and try some new stuff. If you're interested in like, or if you're curious about like war games or something like that, there's like beginner war game events. Um, if there's a game like Gloomhaven or something, I'm just picking something at random,
Right.
where you just can't even get anybody to play it, the time commitment or something like that, this is your chance. Uh, to sit down for an hour or two or whatever and, check it out. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy is, and I'm going to sign up for this, and you sometimes have to be like really quick with this, and that's the AEG Big Game Night. I think I might have mentioned this to you before when we were talking about events or something. But what that is AEG is a publisher. They make a whole ton of like pretty cool games. They're one of my favorite publishers. But they have on Friday night a couple hour long event. It's not cheap. This particular, so a lot of the tickets sometimes they're free, sometimes they're like $2 or whatever. AEG Big Game Night is $38 this year, I thought, because I looked it up the other day.
I don't even see that on the events. And I'm looking up AEG, just AEG, and it doesn't pop up.
Oh, it's
Try.
called Big Game Night 2023. It's at Friday, 8 o'clock. 4 hours long, $38.
Oh, there it is. Big Game Night 2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the cool thing about this thing, and I've gone to this every single year um, that I've gone to Gen Con, really enjoyed it. But the awesome thing about this is that when you go to it, you get a wristband, and then you sit down at the tables, and then they have like demos of whatever their current hot games are. So they'll usually have anywhere from like, 4 or 5, 6 games, plus some older ones over
Yeah.
there. And they have volunteers like walk around and they teach you the game. So like for example, like if we sit down, let's say with our kids, there's four of us, and we'll have a game. We'll have like our own, sometimes dedicated person that help teach the game, so that we don't have to sit there and like totally read the rules from
Okay.
start to finish. They'll explain the rules. They'll help answer questions and stuff like that. This thing goes for a couple hours. You can move around, go to some of the other games, but at the end of the event, you turn in your wristband and you get a box. And inside the box are at least like $40 in games. So, and it's usually like at least one of the hot games that they have uh, that released there at Gen Con for that year.
Well,
So,
they tell you too that you will get
oh,
right
they
in the
tell you?
description.
Oh, they do?
The new games this year are Waffle Time and Number Drop. All attendees will receive both games and who knows what else.
Okay.
So I guess you'll get at least those two.
Yeah.
So those must be like what you were talking about coming out there.
So, and the thing is that this is one that you really got to watch out for, and that's that it sells out really fast. But you know, the thing that I kind of wonder is like if you're going there with family members, do you really want to pay $38 for everybody, and everybody gets a box, and now you're doubled up on games?
Oh,
Yeah,
good point.
and so usually what we've done is like the kids don't have wristbands. And there's only one year that they kind of hassled us a little bit, but I don't think it was a big deal, or at least it wasn't a big deal to me.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, definitely check that one out. This is one that I will definitely be getting a ticket for. So it's Big Game Nights 2023, and the other one I don't remember. It's been I haven't been to Gen Con now in like 3 years. Last time was the year before the pandemic. And one thing that I also really enjoyed going to was the Fantasy Flight in-flight report. And I was looking the other day, I couldn't find anything on it because Fantasy Flight has been a long time like awesome publisher. They put out a ton of really cool games, like the Star Wars miniatures and
Oh yeah.
um, a lot of those Star Wars games, and they did Warhammer before that, and ton of stuff. Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, ton of games. But it's like, well, actually, what's their like latest big property? Would that be Marvel Champions? Maybe it's
Well, the
got it.
deck building, Star Wars deck building just came out.
Yeah, that too. So what they have is they have like a huge conference. Think of like those that we get at work, right? The tech conferences, right? The dude walking around on stage,
Yeah.
you know, showing off, some kind of like video screens in the background explaining stuff. It's think of something like that, and
Okay.
it's always been pretty cool because you get to see like the new games, and they talk up the latest releases, latest expansions, because they are like king of expansions, dude. Like Star Wars expansions, Arkham Horror expansions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have something for the new deck builder game as well. I would
there
definitely.
there is learn to play for the deck building.
Well,
There's there's several different.
oh,
There's Twilight
events.
Inscription, Arkham Horror, Dagger, Lord of the Rings,
Yeah,
Living Card Game, but I don't see a general.
yeah, that one.
What do you know? The name of that one is
It's called the in-flight report.
In Flight Report.
Yeah, that one might be you just line up and then they let in the first like 2,000 people or whatever. It's usually in a huge area of the hall, and it's usually oh man, was it Wednesday night? Maybe it's Wednesday night that it happens. But anyway,
Oh
uh,
well, I wouldn't. I won't be there.
yeah,
I'll be flying in that night. So because it, I thought it opened on Thursday.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, there
So
is some stuff that happens on Wednesday. It's usually like industry night,
okay.
and yeah, it's like industry night, and then they also let in some, media people like us. I've never gone to that stuff. I just haven't had time. But
Yeah.
yeah, the in-flight report is really, really cool. Like I said, if you like Fantasy Flight, that's something definitely check out. Now, Fantasy Flight did have Asmodee by them, so I
Oh,
don't know how much they're gonna, continue that tradition. They've been doing it. They had it last year, I believe, and the year before, but that's just another event that's really cool to check out. A lot of people also like to go to. There's events for like Dice Tower. Um, that one's pretty popular with people because the Dice Tower crew sits there, and they have various guests, and it's like a panel almost. Think of
okay.
like something like one of the Comic Cons or something. Maybe that's what
Yeah,
it's.
they got a Thursday night. Looks like they're doing a Dice Tower Awards.
Yeah. And some of the other podcasts and stuff or shows that have been around for some time, they have meetups and stuff. Those are usually pretty cool as well. Some of them are actually off-site, like at restaurants or breweries. Breweries seems to be pretty popular. But that's just a couple ideas. And definitely if there's games that you're interested in, have a curiosity on, just get out there and try it. It's the
Yeah.
opportunity, because especially if you're looking to you know play a game that you just can't get to the table. You have people that paid at least $2 because tickets are usually not super expensive. Usually just a couple of bucks, unless it's something, let's say like a tournament where you get cards, right? Like they have some drafts for Magic the Gathering
Yeah.
where as part of the experience, you might pay $20, but you walk out with, a buttload of Magic cards because you're actually opening the packs and building your decks. And by the way, we did that one year because we thought it would be cool. It wasn't the best experience because, I mean, I've played Magic. Granted, it was a long time ago. I know the rules, but the problem that we ran into is that when you're drafting, you wind up with, let's see, what's a good way to explain this? So, did you ever go to like one of those stir fry restaurants? Where like
You put all
Mongolian
your
barbecue
yeah.
and
Yep.
yeah. So, how like you put all your stuff in your bowl and you're like, "Oh, I like steak and I
Mhm.
like mushrooms and I like broccoli." And then in the end, you're like, "This doesn't taste so great." I like all the things in there, but they don't go well together. That's kind of like what it is because if you really don't know the cards, you're kind of hosed from the get-go because Magic is very big on synergy
uh,
with the cards, right? These cards like need to be used together, and if you're like, "Oh, this is a cool card," because you've never seen it before, you just wind up with a mishmash of stuff, and you just get crushed. Like my son and I were playing this um, one guy, and actually it was another father son, but they knew the cards. They played a lot,
yeah.
and we got like annihilated by the third turn. I mean, that's how bad it was. I mean, it was just like, okay, we played these cards. Okay, we really can't do anything with them. And then crushed. But yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, that's about it. Do you have any questions or anything? I know we kind of briefly talked about it the other day.
No, I think I'm going to be. I think my concern is I'm going to be exhausted. Spending like so this thing that's on Friday that you talked about.
Hmm.
We're going to be there all day Thursday. We're going to be there all day Friday, and then this thing starts at 8 o'clock at night and runs for 4 hours. Like, and then we plan to be there Saturday and Sunday. I was like, oh my gosh, I
Well,
don't think I'm going to make it.
well, actually, here let's delve into that a little bit. So usually, if you if you put the time into it, you can walk the whole hall, like pretty much the whole thing, in one day.
Okay.
You start at like 11 ish or so. You can walk the whole thing, plus take time out for lunch.
Yeah.
So in maybe like 5 hours. And this is stopping here and there. And I'm not talking about like really doing a lot of demos.
Just
Maybe
kind
like,
of seeing what they have on that first day and just watching everything.
yeah, just walking up and down the aisles.
Yeah.
I usually do most of my shopping on Thursday, and I'll know which games to get. Um, I think you and I talked about how I have that my plan of what to get where, because some stuff is limited, very
Yeah.
limited quantities. So you got to snag that stuff on Thursday, or you're not going to be getting it
Okay.
until Christmas. But yeah, it's like you can usually walk it in one day, and then whichever day that is, whether it's like Friday, Thursday, whatever, and the rest of the time you can go through and like, hey, I want to try this game over at the Asmodee booth. I want to try this one over at Z-Man. I want to try this one over here. And you can do those, and then you pepper events like here and there. Big game night, that's a big time sink. I
Yeah.
mean, we've usually gotten there around 8 o'clock, sometimes a little bit earlier if you're just in the area, and you had dinner, and you go back over there, and then you know you're probably going to be there for at least 3 hours. And people do actually just show up, and they're like, okay, thanks for the wristband, give me my box, I'm out of here. They're not interested in playing at all.
Okay.
But yeah, you can usually do the whole thing in one day, and then the rest of the time is just gaming. There's one thing that I also like doing is just like, hey, all right, Mark bought, whatever game it is. He bought Azul again,
I
Azul giant version,
don't know what you're talking about.
mega mega deluxe version. And it's like, yeah, let's play it. Right? So you go in the hall and you sit down, and you play some of the games that you bought.
Yeah.
And scatter lunch and dinner and food and stuff in between. And yeah, the time goes by quick. The only thing for me is usually Sunday. I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My worry is I remember going to PAX
yeah,
Prime
yeah.
several years ago, and that was one day, and I was just so exhausted by the end of the day. And that
Oh,
was
you'll be
one
tired.
day.
Yeah, you'll be tired.
Just like, I mean, my honestly, my concern is like, am I going to even feel like going the second day? Like, am I going to be so tired and that I don't want to even go back? I can just see it now. Brun shows up like on Saturday, and we're like, we're done. You can go
I'll
home.
I'll send you pictures of me and Brun and the kids.
Yeah, no, I'm going, but
I
I
know,
am
I know.
concerned. It's going to be a lot. It's a lot of work, a lot of walking, and I ain't built for that.
No, it is
So,
tiring. You got to watch out for, like, the big thing is dehydration. You
yeah,
will get dehydrated unless you drink water, plenty of fluid or whatever.
yeah,
And that's the biggest concern. And because actually, while you're walking, sometimes it's warm, you're sweating, other people are sweating. Oh,
Yeah,
that's not,
stinking.
yeah, not so great. But like for me, it's always been the next thing keeps me going. It's like, okay, at 1 o'clock we want to go over here, or hey, let's let's go to lunch. I'm freaking starving. Let's go to the mall. And yeah, there's a food court in the mall that we usually head for lunch because it's easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually goes by fairly quick. But and then Sunday for me usually has a different vibe, and then it's like because that's
Yeah, we're
family day.
well,
Yeah,
we're actually I won't be there Sunday actually,
yeah,
because we're flying home on Sunday. So
hmm
I yeah, we'll only be actually. I don't know why I was saying 4 days because we're coming home. So
yeah,
I won't be at the convention on Sunday.
yeah. We usually skip that too
So
because Sunday is usually the check out. Take your time, check out of the hotel, and hit the road day.
yeah, but I'm excited for it. I'm really looking forward to going.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah. Well, not even that. They said 80 days.
Oh yeah,
Countdown to Gen
oh
Con,
yeah, it
80
is.
days. So
Yeah, there it
under
is.
3 months now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
except
definitely.
what's with their freaking did you see that ugly clothing line they put out for this year?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I don't look at their clothes.
I get the email. So of course I see something. It's my first time. Ooh, what's this? It's like, what is that garbage?
So stylish.
It looks terrible.
Is it
I think so.
linked off of their website? Oh, there it
I'm
is.
looking for
Shop
it.
official merch. Oh, I think they got oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, something happened with their prior merch provider. So I think this provider's new.
Trying to find the thing that I saw in the email. It was terrible. It was some kind of space suit looking thing, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?"
hmm
No, looking at their official merch, I don't even see that what was in the email on here. Um, these look like normal, but I'll have to send you a copy of that email. You're like, look
Okay.
at this crap. If I
Yeah.
kept it, I might have deleted it. So it was really bizarre.
hmm Yeah, one thing that we usually do wind up getting, I mean, we really don't get the hats or shirts or anything like that, but they'll typically have these booths, I guess, outside the hall, usually, at the convention center, but they'll have pins for the year. So, it'll be like Gen Con 2023.
Yeah.
So I usually get one for myself, one for my son. And then, we've got a badge holder that we got,
Yeah.
and then we pin these to the badge because normally the badge is just like a plastic card
Right.
and a lanyard, but you can get like I'll call it air quote cooler badge holder
Yeah.
that's that's
For
got
the
more
low,
room
low
for
price of
stuff.
$7,500.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
bag of holding.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at that.
Oh, coming soon to Kickstarter.
You've been
Yeah.
asking for it,
Now
and
it's
now they
here.
have it. Yeah. I don't remember asking for it. Do you? But
I've got a bag that I bought for what did I buy it for? And we were putting oh, it was packs. And I've got pins and stuff attached to that thing. But it's not a very large bag. But it was more of like to bring like I don't remember what we had, maybe water bottle in it and just some stuff. And if you picked up anything, but buying a board game, it's not going to fit in a bag of holding.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
one thing that definitely helps is parking somewhere close. Although I don't think you're going to be, well, yeah, you're going to be parking. You're just not going to be driving, right?
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a ride.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
because it does help to park reasonably close so you don't have to carry something all freaking day.
oh yeah,
Yeah, so we would normally do like 1 or 2 trips to the car just to drop stuff off.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we wound up talking about other stuff in addition to events, but yeah, event registration's going to be in about a week, and hopefully we'll be at the AEG big game night. Or if you don't, then you can just watch me open up my box with my games. And you'll
Yeah,
be,
good.
I wish I could have gotten it.
You just need to hit me up when
Yeah.
as a reminder, dude. They're going live.
Oh,
I
and
think it's this weekend, I believe.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Let me hit the
That's
get
what I
tickets
wanted.
and see what it
Yeah.
says.
Yeah, and they sell a certain amount, usually like 700 through event sales. And then at the night of the big game night, you can buy generic tickets. Usually, I mean, I don't know if they're going to change it this year, but usually it's been the case where you can get in with generic tickets. So they're just a bunch of tickets, like $2 each or whatever, and then um, as long as you pay them $38 or whatever, then or $38 worth of generics, then you're in. But you got to get there early and wait in line. So
So I'm
definitely
sorry. Okay. Well, I think I'm just gonna get like just order tickets for both my daughter and myself, just so we don't have a problem.
exactly.
And if anyone else let's see, this is Friday night. I think Brun's coming Saturday. I could always just give him my daughter's box.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
You
sure he would
know,
appreciate it.
yeah, since because he can only come for one day,
Yeah.
and I think he's coming for the Saturday, I believe. I got to double check with him.
Yeah, it's usually pretty busy Saturday too. Because then,
So
a lot of people can get there because of work constraints and stuff.
well, I've added that event to my wish list.
Awesome.
so, so
So yeah, that was about it
cool.
for events. Events plus, because we talked about a whole bunch more stuff. Yeah. So yeah, moving on. You want to talk about what you got new? Although I think
a
you
couple.
talked about it. You talked about a
Um,
bunch of them already.
I did. So I'll just mention some of the others. I did. I followed Rob's um,
Tease.
lead, and I bought Azul Mini. I
I
don't
did
know
not.
why.
I did not buy that.
What?
I just took a picture and I said I did not buy this.
Oh, you.
You did
Oh,
not read the caption,
I guess not. No, I just saw the picture. I'm like, oh, I gotta go get it. You know, I got a complaint about this game,
really?
and it's like it's Azul Mini, so it's smaller version. It's meant to be like travel, but it doesn't come in any kind of case. I'm like,
What do
I
you
would kind
mean?
of expect that if it's a travel version that I'd open the box and it would be like all in like a travel case or something, and it's
Yeah,
not. It's just in this box. Like, well, the box is going to get destroyed. We don't want boxes destroyed,
yeah,
so I'm gonna have to find something to put it in.
yeah.
um, let's see. So I also picked up. I don't think I mentioned this. I did get a copy of Clank.
Oh, nice.
Um, I did get one. That seems to have been a little hard to find, so I'm glad I got one. I haven't got to play it yet, but it's one I want to get to really soon. Um, And then I did also pick up a game. It's a new game that came out called Setup. It's like a number tile stacking game. Looks interesting. And then I picked up another one called Summer Camp. This one was like by a couple of people for a cooperative, um, like a top cooperative game. Um, Deck builder. I think it's a deck builder, I believe. It's like one of the top deck builders. So I grabbed that. I thought it was interesting. Looked like it might be fun. So, and again, I think the theme will go well for my family. So, but that's what I've got new.
Nice. Yeah, I went to I think I did like two or three board game store stops. Because there's a couple that I make the rounds in, and I usually do a rotation. Because ever since the pandemic, a bunch of them they don't get as much. They're the gaming goat stores. Um,
Okay.
Used to get a ton of stuff before the pandemic, but ever since the the new stuff has been kind of lacking a little bit in the stores, unfortunately. But yeah, so I just go there every couple weeks, and then there's one store that is they tend to get a bunch of the newer stuff. But last couple of times I've been to all of these, I'll just kind of like look around. There's some interesting things, but nothing that really like screams by me. And that's when I went to one of them. They had just gotten in Azul Mini. That's when I took the picture of it and I sent it to you. And then they also had a Gears of War, I think it was game. Was it
Oh,
Gears?
nice.
Yeah, because there was two pictures I took, and I hadn't even heard of that Gears of War game. It's it's yeah, it's not. I think Fantasy Flight came out with one years ago, but it's yeah, it's not that one. It's something. It's like a card game that just recently came out. But yeah, so I went to all those stores and haven't bought anything in quite some time. But I did receive a Kickstarter. No, it was a Kickstarter. It might have been, or is one of these other ones, right? There's the Game Found and whatever the other ones are called, but it's called Oranienburger Kanal. It's the latest Uwe Rosenberg game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's about some canal that was built in Germany about I don't know 200 years ago. And the one thing that I do have to say that I appreciated about this game is that it came with two expansions, and the expansion boxes are I don't know maybe like 4 by 5 or 4 by 6 inches approximately, so that I'm hoping because I haven't actually even broken the shrink out of this. That's how new this is. It just came I think
Huh.
yesterday, but not yesterday. It came Saturday. But the they're small, so they're gonna fit inside the big box, which is kind of cool because I hate some of these that are an expansion and the box is as big as the original, and shelf space is at a premium, right?
Dude, you should see my couch.
Oh boy.
My dogs aren't happy. My couch in my man cave is one of the chairs is one of the seats is completely full of boxes that I got no place to put.
Nice. Been there, done that.
Yeah, I think this weekend I'm like, okay, I'm taking the small box stuff and I'm gonna move them to like these shelves behind me. They won't
Mhm.
be on display, but I gotta move all that, and then I'll be able to have room for the bigger stuff. So,
Good luck.
oh, I and in a way, I did get a free game.
Yeah.
Remember, I told you about I ordered a very expensive game from
Oh yeah. Yep.
eBay, and they sent me an $11 game.
Yeah.
It's brand new, $11 on Amazon. It was called Disney Sidekicks. Well, eBay refunded me all my money. I guess I never got anything about I had to return it because I was sitting here and I kept the box it came in, and even it was supposedly it was someone from Canada that sent it. The Canadian Post Office even called me because they
Oh really?
supposedly put a claim in. And I told them, I'm like, no, I've got the box. The box is labeled as this, what's in it. And then when I opened it, that's not what was in it. And I said, I know what I ordered, and it would not have fit into the box that was sent. And they verified that, okay. So I don't know, but yeah, I got to give credit to eBay. They're like, okay, well, it took a long time, you know, and they finally, once I was able to actually get someone of them involved, because they want you to deal with the seller.
Yeah.
Once you go past that time frame, then they get involved and they're like, okay, we'll take a look at it, give us all this time. And it was like less than a day, and they're like, we've refunded your money.
Yeah.
So I think it was, but a scam. But I'm like, if it's a scam, why are you even sending anything? But
Hmm.
I'm like, hey, you sent me a $11 board game. It wasn't even new. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll stick it on the shelf and add it to the collection. If nonetheless, I'll never play it, but it's a talking piece.
Yeah. And
So,
eventually it's going to get punted because you'd
oh yeah,
rather have a good game in that spot.
exactly.
It's is the game shelf worthy? That's the question.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. Doing you want to call it here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
All right. So I guess that concludes episode 47 of This Board Game Life. Thanks for listening, everybody. My name is Rob. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you all on episode 48.
And I'm Mark. We'll catch you at the table. Have a good one.